Have you ever dropped everything, your own plans, your rest, your sleep, your peace of mind, just to help someone who forgets you the second they get what they want? If you've ever felt this way, then you need to hear this story, because sometimes life teaches us the hardest lessons through the people we love the most. There was this small town nestled in the heart of America, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. In this town lived a guy named Daniel, and everybody knew him. If someone's lawnmower broke down, they'd call Daniel. If someone needed help moving furniture, Daniel's truck would be there. He never turned anyone down. He'd flash that genuine smile and say, "Sure thing, I got you." He truly believed that helping others made him a better person, and people loved him for it. They'd tell him he had a heart of gold, that he was the kind of person this world needed more of. But slowly, without Daniel even noticing, his life stopped being his own. His lawn grew wild and unkempt. His truck needed an oil change that was months overdue. His garage door was broken. The list of things he needed to fix kept growing. But instead of taking care of his own stuff, he was out there all over town fixing everyone else's problems. And his mom would look at him with those tired, worried eyes and say, "Danny, you help everybody in this town, but why doesn't anybody ever help you?" And Daniel would give her that same small, tired smile and say, "It's okay, Mom. One day people will remember all the good I've done." But that day never came. Everyone in town was rushing around, tying down patio furniture, covering grills, getting their stuff inside before the storm hit. Daniel ran outside too, but not to save his own things. He sprinted straight to his buddy Jake's place because Jake's tools and equipment were still scattered all over his driveway. They worked like crazy, throwing tarps over everything, hauling toolboxes into the garage, racing against the clock. But back at Daniel's house, his own patio furniture was still out. His garden tools were lying in the grass, and his storage boxes were wide open. The wind howled through the streets like something fierce. His mom came out, draped a warm blanket over his shoulders. Daniel didn't say anything, but something inside him finally snapped. A retired Marine and high school coach who lived in a cabin by the lake. Daniel sat down next to him on the dock and said, "Sir, I don't get it. What am I doing wrong? Why does it feel like being kind is destroying me?" Mr. Thompson watched the lake, the water calm and still, and said, "Daniel, you see this lake? But you know what happens when there's too much rain and the lake overflows its banks." Daniel thought for a second and said, "It floods. It destroys everything around it. Kindness without boundaries becomes self-destruction. You're a good man, Daniel, but you have no limits. You're running yourself into the ground for everybody else, but you're not running for yourself. You think saying no makes you a bad person, but sometimes saying no is the most honest act of self-respect you can do." Daniel sat there, really listening as Mr. Thompson continued. "Here's what I want you to do. For the next 7 days, don't say yes right away. When someone asks you for help, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, will helping this person hurt me? Will I lose time, energy, or peace that I need for my own life? If the answer is yes, then you tell them, not today, try it, son. You'll be surprised what happens." The next morning felt strange, different somehow. Around lunchtime, Jake showed up at Daniel's door and said, "Hey man, I need your help moving this massive couch I just bought. Can you come over?" Daniel looked at his own broken fence that had been falling apart for months. His heart wanted to say yes like it always did, but he remembered what Mr. Thompson told him. He took a deep breath and said, "Jake, I'm sorry man, but I can't today. I've got to fix my own fence. It's been broken forever. Maybe later this week, but not today." Jake just stood there, completely stunned. "You're saying no? Dude, you never say no." Daniel nodded, standing his ground. Jake left looking kind of annoyed, and Daniel felt guilty for a minute, but he stayed focused on what he needed to do. Within a couple hours, that fence that had been broken for months was finally standing strong again. For the first time in forever, Daniel felt actual pride in taking care of his own life. The next day, two different neighbors stopped by asking for small favors. Help carrying groceries, help fixing a wobbly table. But Daniel politely turned them down and explained he was working on his own projects. That evening, instead of feeling drained and used up, he felt light. On the fourth day, the sky got dark again and more heavy rain poured down. This time, Daniel's roof started leaking bad. He glanced outside, half expecting someone to knock on his door the way he'd always knocked on theirs. But nobody came. Not a single person. He could have gotten angry or bitter, but instead he felt something new rising up inside him, strength. He grabbed his tools and climbed up there himself. It took hours. It took patience and a few YouTube tutorials on his phone. But when he finally finished, he sat under his newly repaired roof and whispered to himself, "So this is what it feels like to depend on myself." He stopped dropping everything the second someone called his name. He stopped sacrificing his sleep and his sanity for people who never gave him a second thought. He cleaned up his house. Jake started figuring out his own problems instead of constantly depending on Daniel. The neighbors stopped calling for every little thing. The town was still friendly, still neighborly, but people no longer treated Daniel like some free handyman service they could use whenever they felt like it. Daniel's house looked amazing. His yard was beautiful. He looked healthier, happier. And for the first time in years, he laughed without feeling exhausted behind it. He was the man who valued himself. One afternoon, Mr. Thompson stopped by Daniel's place. He looked around at the thriving garden, the freshly painted fence, the fixed roof, and the genuine peaceful smile on Daniel's face. He asked softly, "So Daniel, did the world fall apart when you stopped saying yes to everyone?" Daniel smiled and said, "No, sir. Actually, my world finally started coming together." Mr. Thompson nodded with that knowing smile and said, "When you stop saying yes to everyone else, you finally start saying yes to yourself. And that's when life really begins to change." So let me ask you something. Are you like Daniel? Do you give too much? Do you say yes even when it's killing you inside? Remember this, saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. It means you're choosing peace over pressure. Your time, your energy, your mental health, they're precious. Protect them fiercely, because the world will only respect you when you start respecting yourself.